Well, so I was reading Miranda Devine this morning in the New York Post, where it has now been confirmed that attempted Trump assassin Thomas Crooks used they-them pronouns and had a deep interest in furries and was exploring gender identity. Tyler Robinson had a furry obsession and lived with his transgender boyfriend. The Annunciation Catholic Church shooter, the Nashville Christian shooter, Lakewood Church shooter, Colorado Springs shooter, Denver shooter, Aberdeen shooter, Iowa high school shooter, all trans-identified. Left-wing terror plots and attacks as a percentage of all terror plots and attacks reached a record high. In the first half of 2025, according to the Nonpartisan Center for Strategic and International Studies. If that trend persists, this year we'll see the highest number of left-wing terror plots and attacks on U.S. soil in more than 3 decades. Leftist terrorism made up nearly 45% of all terrorism thus far in 2025, an increase of over 20% from last year. And to say all that leads me here to my point, which is one of the most malignant, poisonous lies that the left and their stenographers in the media keep shoving down America's throat is this smug little fairy tale that political violence in this country is a both sides problem. Both sides do it, don't you know? Both sides are equally guilty. Extremism is on both sides, we hear. Well, they say it with that practice sanctimonious sigh like they're the wise adults in the room, but it's a lie. It's an absolute bald-faced industrial strength lie. Virtually every drop of political violence, every assassination attempt, every firebombing, every beating, every murder in cold blood in this country over the last decade has come from one side, and one side only, the Marxist-inspired, American-hating, Democrat Party-owned left. It wasn't the young Republicans who tried to murder President Trump twice. It wasn't conservatives who gunned down healthcare executive Brian Thompson on a New York street. It wasn't Turning Point USA kids who beat a staffer bloody at UC Berkeley last week while 4 leftist women were arrested for felony vandalism. It wasn't right-wingers who murdered Charlie Kirk in Utah. But you know who the media will never, ever say that about? The left. Never. For 60 years, the American left has weaponized guilt the way the Soviets weaponized wheat, turning generations of young people into permanent emotional adolescents who believe the only way to atone for existing is to burn something down or scream at the sky or put a bullet in someone they've been told is evil. They've convinced these poor, mind-numbed robots that the coastal elites, the Hollywood actors, the tenured Marxists, the Silicon Valley billionaires, these are the smartest, most moral people who have ever lived. All you have to do is be in the same cool crowd, is to hate the same people that they hate. That's all you got to do. Chant the same slogans and never, ever ask a single question. And if you step out of line, if you dare wear a red hat or question men and girls sports or refuse to call the 2020 riots mostly peaceful, by the way, the New York Times now calls them broadly peaceful because mostly got laughed out of the room. If you do any of that, you deserve whatever violence, well, they dish out. 900 churches vandalized or burned since 2023. 900. Crisis pregnancy centers firebombed by Jane's Revenge after the Dobbs decision. Antifa, Trantifa, BLM, pro-Hamas campus psychos, climate lunatics gluing themselves to masterpieces, throwing soup at priceless art. Every single one of them left-wing. Every single one. And when you point this out, what do they scream back? Well, what about January 6th? That's it. That's their whole rebuttal. They've been milking that cow for 5 years, and it's still the only thing they've got. Even John Fetterman went on CNN this week and admitted it. He said the right calls him nasty names, but the left wants him dead. Think about that. Even the guy in the hoodie sees it clearer than 99% of the media. Folks, we are watching a political movement that has made violence a feature, not a bug. And they get away with it because the media runs cover. The universities cheer it on, and corporate America writes the checks. This cannot stand. We don't need more hand-wringing about lowering the temperature. We need swift, severe, blinding justice. Every firebomber, every assassin, every Antifa thug who cracks a conservative skull for wrongthink needs to feel the full weight and law immediately, publicly, and without mercy. Because if we don't stop this now, the country will not survive another decade of the left's reign of terror. You've got Donald Trump back in the fight, and he's shown us the battlefield. But let's be clear, it's going to take another 8 years, maybe more, of unrelenting, uncompromising, take no prisoners conservative governance to rip this Marxist cancer out of America's institutions, root and branch. The left wants you afraid. Make no mistake about it. They want you silent. And just like their position on abortion on demand, they don't recognize fundamentally the dignity and sanctity of human life. And that's tonight's first word.